Hi friends, welcome back to our channel Lantern Light of Knowledge. So today we are going to discuss a new topic, that is organic mental disorders. So what are organic mental disorders? First see the definition. Organic mental disorders are behavioral or psychological disorders associated with transient or permanent brain dysfunction. So if there is any dysfunction to the brain, either it can be transient or temporary, or it can be permanent brain dysfunction. This brain dysfunction can result in either behavioral or psychological disorders. Such a case is called organic mental disorder. So in the next slide we will see it includes those mental and behavioral disorders that are due to demonstrable cerebral disease or disorder, either primary, that is due to primary brain pathology, or secondary, that is brain dysfunction due to some systemic diseases. So from this slide it is very clear that it can be either a primary cause, that is a direct brain injury due to some causes, and a secondary cause can be due to some systemic diseases affecting brain. So both these causes can cause some brain dysfunction, ultimately resulting in mental and behavioral disorders. So that is called organic mental disorders. I hope you got an idea what is organic mental disorder. So what are the classifications of organic mental disorder? In general, we are classifying it into delirium, dementia, organic amnestic syndrome, and other organic mental disorders. So this is the broad classification: delirium, dementia, organic amnestic syndrome, and other organic mental disorders. Today in this class we are discussing the major ones, that is delirium, dementia, and organic amnestic syndrome. First one, delirium. So it is the commonest organic mental disorder. Delirium is the commonest organic mental disorder. It is also called acute confusional states, acute brain syndrome, acute organic reaction, toxic psychosis, metabolic encephalopathies, or any other encephalopathies. All these are other names of delirium. So the commonest other name is acute brain syndrome. Since it has an acute onset, it is called acute brain syndrome. So what are the clinical features? So delirium is characterized by, first one, a relatively acute onset. Already we have mentioned it is an acute brain syndrome. So the onset is acute. Then clouding of consciousness. What is clouding of consciousness? A decreased awareness of surroundings and decreased ability to respond to the environmental stimuli. So the person have decreased awareness about the surrounding, and also he cannot respond adequately to the environmental stimuli. So these are the two important symptoms, and the third important one is disorientation. So disorientation can be initially in time, then in place, and usually later in person. So disorientation in time, then in place, and usually later in person. So these are the main three one, that is relatively acute onset, clouding of consciousness, then disorientation. We will see what are the other features. There can be decreased attention span and distractibility. There can be decreased attention span and distractibility in the person. The person will have difficulty in concentrating on some things, and also he will be easily distractible to some unnecessary stimuli. And also the person has marked perceptual disturbances such as illusions and hallucinations. So marked perceptual disturbances. So you know what is perception and perceptual disturbances. The common perceptual disturbances are illusions and hallucinations. If you are not aware of the perceptual disturbances, you can just click the link above and see the videos on perceptual disturbances. So here the common perceptual disturbances are visual in nature, and disturbances of sleep-wake cycle, that is insomnia at night and daytime drowsiness. Usually the opposite happens in a normal person, and here there is disturbance in the sleep-wake cycle. Then worsening of symptoms in the evening and night. Very important point. There is worsening of symptoms in the evening and night. That is called sundowning. Very important question. Sundowning. So what is sundowning? That is worsening of symptoms in the evening and night. So it is usually seen in delirium, sundowning. Then impairment of registration and retention of new memories. Impairment of registration and retention of new memories. Then psychomotor disturbance, usually agitation. The person will get agitated very easily. Then generalized autonomic dysfunctions will be there. Then speech and thought disturbances such as slurring of speech, incoherence, dysarthria and delusions. All these terms are mentioned previously in our classes. You can see all those videos to get a clear idea about all these explanations. Then motor symptoms in delirium can be asterixis or flapping tremor. You know what is flapping tremor? So asterixis or flapping tremor. Then multifocal myoclonus. Then carphologia or floccillation. Very, very important question. Carphologia or floccillation. What is carphologia or floccillation? These are picking movements at the cover sheets or cloths. So the person lying down in a delirium state will be using his hands to pick up the cover sheets or cloths. That kind of movement is called carphologia or floccillation. Then tone and reflex abnormalities. There will be muscle tone and muscle reflex abnormalities in this person. Then lability of affect. What is lability of affect? So you can see the video on affect. Here the lability of affect means fast changing mood, fast changing expression, emotional expression is called lability of affect. Then motor and verbal perseveration. All these are explained previously. We are just mentioning the names of these symptoms. The explanations of all these symptoms are given before. Then dysnomia, difficulty in naming things. Then agraphia, difficulty in writing. Then impaired comprehension, impairment in understanding things. Then what are the etiological factors? You can see several causes are there. So the etiology can be metabolic causes, endocrine causes, drugs, both ingestion and withdrawal of some drugs can cause delirium. Then poisons, then nutritional deficiencies, then systemic infections, intracranial causes, miscellaneous causes like post-operative states or ICU delirium, then sleep deprivation, then heat, electricity, radiation. All these can induce a condition of delirious state. So these are common etiological causes of delirium. Then how we manage the delirium? What are the lines of management of delirium? So the first and foremost thing is identification of the cause, because we have already listed several causes are there. N number of causes are there for delirium. So in order to treat a delirium, first of all, we have to isolate which is the cause for delirium. So identification of the cause is the primary line of management and its immediate correction. So we have given some examples of management of causes. That is, first one, you can see the examples. 50 milligram of 50% dextrose IV for hypoglycemia. So for hypoglycemia, we will be giving IV bolus 50% dextrose. Then oxygen can be given for hypoxia. Then 100 milligram of thiamine IV for thiamine deficiency. Then IV fluids and for fluid and electrolyte imbalance. So all these are the corrective measures. So first and foremost thing is you have to identify the causative factor for the delirium. Then only you will be able to solve it. Then second and important management is symptomatic measures. The person will be showing several symptoms like agitation, anxiety, disorientation. All these are we can manage with medications like benzodiazepines, antipsychotics and all. So symptomatic management of the other symptoms are also very, very important. Then supportive medical and nursing care. And throughout this person, because the person is disoriented and he cannot respond well to the environmental stimuli, he cannot meet his personal needs, there is need for intensive medical and nursing care. So these are the lines of management. Then we will pass on to the next topic, that is dementia. Dementia is a chronic organic mental disorder. So we have already told that delirium is acute organic brain syndrome. Here dementia is chronic organic brain syndrome. That is the major difference between delirium and dementia. Dementia is chronic. It is characterized by the main clinical features like, first one, impairment of intellectual function. Very, very important. Here there is impairment of intellectual functions. Then impairment of memory. Memory is also impaired in dementia. That is predominantly recent memory. Recent things the person cannot remember, but he or she is able to remember the past things. Then deterioration of personality with lack of personal care. The person will have personality deterioration. He will not be conscious about his appearance and all. So there is lack of personal care. Then there is impairment of all functions which interferes with activities of daily living and interpersonal relationship. So there is impairment of all the function. There is a global impairment in the functioning of the individual. Then impairment of judgment and impulse control. The person cannot use the ability to judge things. That is, the judgment is poor or impaired. Then impulse control. The person will not have impulse control. He has poor impulse control. He will get agitated very easily. Impairment of abstract thinking. So the person will have concrete thinking. He cannot understand the nuances of meaning of some statements. He cannot understand the inner meaning of concepts. So that is impairment of abstract thinking. No impairment of consciousness, unlike delirium. In delirium, the person will have clouding of consciousness, whereas in dementia, there is no problem with consciousness. Then the course of dementia is usually progressive. It is not static, it is progressive, and it is downhill usually. And additional features include emotional lability. The person will have easily changing or a fast changing emotions. Then catastrophic reaction. What is catastrophic reaction? It's an important feature of dementia. So the dementia person will have some residual mental capacity. So his mental capacity or intellectual function is impaired, and he will have some intellectual capacity. If you are giving some task or assignment to the person with dementia that he cannot do with his remaining intellectual capacity, his mood will change and he will become very angry suddenly. That is called a catastrophic reaction. The anger outburst, if he cannot do the task which is given, is called a catastrophic reaction. Then thought abnormalities like perseveration, delusions. So you know what is perseveration and all. So please see the signs and symptoms in the initial classes. Then urinary and fecal incontinence may develop in the later stages. So urinary and fecal incontinence can also be present in dementia patients. Then disorientation in time. Already we are told disorientation will be there in delirium. Here also the person will have disorientation in time, and disorientation in place and person develop only in later stages. And there can be or a possibility of neurological signs, or it can be plus or minus. The neurological signs may be present or absent. Then regarding the etiology, just like delirium, dementia also has a variety of causes. The parenchymatous brain diseases. If the brain disease affecting the brain parenchyma, then vascular dementia, vascular problems related to brain, toxic dementia, toxins affecting the brain, metabolic dementia, metabolic problems affecting the brain, then endocrine causes, the hypothyroidism, hyperthyroidism, and all causing difficulty in brain functioning. Then deficiency dementias, deficiency of various vitamins, then dementias due to infections, infections causing brain injury, then neoplastic dementias, neoplasm affecting the brain cells, then traumatic dementias, injuries causing the brain, then hydrocephalic dementia, hydrocephalus causing brain dysfunction. All these are etiological factors. So what are the management modalities in dementia? So we have already seen the management in delirium. So here also the same management, treatment of the underlying cause if treatable. So we have to identify what is the causative factor for dementia in this person from the given causes. So isolating the cause, and if it is treatable cause, you have to treat it. For example, hypothyroidism or hyperthyroidism can be treated. Then any toxin intake can be treated. Any infections can be treated, so that further progress of dementia may be controlled. Then environmental manipulation and focus on coping skill to reduce stress in day-to-day activities. So you have to manipulate the environment in the friendly way to the person who is affected by dementia, so that he will have less stress in finding out things, doing things and all. Then treatment of medical complications, if any. If the person is suffering from any medical complications like diabetes, hypertension or any other stroke or any paralysis, anything else, the person treated. Then care of food and hygiene. The person, as the person is unaware of the personal care, we have to care for the food and hygiene. Then supportive care for the patient and family or the caregivers. So here there is a lot of stress or caregiver burden is there in case of dementia, because most of the activities of daily living has to be fulfilled by the caregivers, so that they will feel so stressed in their day-to-day life. So we have to give a supportive care for the patient and family, that is the caregivers. Then we can also give specific drug treatment such as cholinesterase inhibitors, for example, donepezil, rivastigmine, galantamine and all, in case of moderate Alzheimer's disease, or specific drug treatments such as cholinesterase inhibitors, example, donepezil, rivastigmine, galantamine, in case of moderate Alzheimer's disease, and also memantine in case of moderate to severe Alzheimer's disease. Then we are going to discuss about organic amnestic syndrome. It is characterized by impairment of memory due to an underlying organic cause. So here only problem is memory loss to the patient, and unlike in delirium, there is no severe disturbance of consciousness and attention. There is no global disturbance of intellectual function, abstract thinking and personality, unlike in dementia. Only problem is memory disturbance or impairment of memory. This cause is some organic cause. That's why it is called organic amnestic syndrome. Then another term called pseudo dementia or depressive dementia. So the patient is usually complaining about memory impairment. And in dementia, real dementia, the person will not complain about the memory impairment. Whereas in pseudo dementia, the person always complain about the memory impairment. And he also always communicates the distress. He has severe distress about this, and severe depression on examination, and there should be an absolute past history of manic or depressive episode, and this concludes that it's a case of depressive dementia or pseudo dementia. Then the difference between delirium and dementia. So by the points which are already told during the class, you might have got an idea what's the differentiating features between delirium and dementia. Regarding the onset, that is acute, and other one is chronic or insidious. Then course usually recovers in 1 week in delirium, but other one is protracted and may be reversible in some cases. Then clinical features: consciousness is clouded but normal in dementia. Orientation grossly disturbed in delirium but usually normal. Then memory, immediate retention and recall is disturbed. Here the immediate retention and recall is normal, but the recent memory is disturbed. Here both recent memory is also disturbed in case of delirium. Then comprehension is impaired in case of delirium, and it is impaired only in later stages in case of dementia. Then a sleep-wake cycle is grossly disturbed in case of delirium and usually normal in the early stages. Then attention and concentration is grossly disturbed, and it is usually normal in case of dementia. Then diurnal variation is marked, that is sundowning is present in case of delirium, very important, and it is usually absent in case of dementia. Then perception, visual illusions and hallucinations are very common, and it may occur in case of dementia. Then other features like asterixis, myoclonal, multifocal myoclonus, and are all present in case of delirium. And here it is catastrophic reaction and also perseveration. So that's all about today's class. Keep watching this channel and study well, focus on your aim, and you are going to succeed it. Thank you.